because you got to get people where they are, and they're not going to get on your train unless they trust you. And the only way they trust you is if you relate.
Hello, welcome to the Chill Mom Boss Show, and I am your host, Michelle Hon. Today, our guest is Tamira Luc. If you've been thinking of publishing a book, Tamira is the person we should all learn from. After all, she is an Amazon best-selling author of numerous books, titles including Women's Side Hustle, There's Somebody in My Room, and The Right End of the Chase. And she has another series of 8 books that's coming out in August. Well, by the time this is out, it should have been launched. And I'll let her tell you all about it in a moment. So Tam helps entrepreneurs create best-selling book fast and use it as a tool to help them make more sales in the business. Aren't you intrigued? I am. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of writing and selling a book, let's welcome Tam to the show. Hi, Tam.
Hi, how are you, Michelle?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I know that a lot of people now knew that we could use book as a personal branding personal branding tool. And I'd like to ask you, what is what is the first consideration entrepreneurs should have if they're thinking of having a book?
Yes, thank you. So I tell you, it's interesting because on the surface, it seems to make sense. You have a book, you have a product, you can sell it. The first thing people think of is point of sale. I can sell it at a flea market. I can sell it at a bookstore. I can sell it at the end of a speaking event. It's point of sale. Cost $20. They give me $20. If I sell 1,000 of them, I make $20,000. So that's easy enough to know. But what most people don't realize is that is just one leg of probably 20 or 30 more legs that a book could help your business. So many legs that people do not know, they don't utilize, and then they waste them. A lot of people want to write books. They say, I can write. I learned how to write in elementary school. I can write. I can just sit down and do what I do in high school. I can write. I'm just sitting here. I write every day. I write about my bills, So you just think that's what it's all about. But there's really a strategy behind the book. And that's what I'm really showing them, where it fits in the strategy, how it could change depending on the kind of results you're trying to get. So I am focused on helping people grow their books, because a lot of people thought, oh, she must be a writing coach. No, I'm not a writing coach. I will help you write that book. I will definitely help you get published. I will get you to #1 on Amazon. But the main thing that's happening with this book is I want you to get more clients into your $5,000 programs. I want you to get more people in your retreats. I want you to get more long-lasting people that love what you're doing. So it's a much bigger picture when it comes to books for me.
So it's only a small part of your entire business product ecosystem.
That's right. That's right.
So when the client comes to you, how do you decide whether he or she is ready for a book?
Great question. Okay, so I was even thinking about this today when I was walking. I'll make it super simple. So you have a 5-figure, let's just take a coach, because a lot of women that listen to this kind of podcast, maybe they're coaching or on some level. So you are a 5-figure coach, 6-figure coach, 7-figure coach, to make it really simple. 5-figure coach, she needs to know what her message is and who she wants that message to be. She can start her business right away as long as she knows what her message is and who needs to hear that message, right? She does that, and she just starts getting one-on-one clients. She can build a 5-figure business that way without knowing much more than that. The person who I think needs to write a book is someone who now wants to leap from 5 figures to 6 figures. That's the point. Because now she wants to know how to leverage her message and share her message. So that's 3 and 4. And then this is my 5-step program. And then the person who wants to get to 7 figures, needs to know how to take that message and up level with the team. So the first step is you're a five-figure coach. You have some clients. You're trying to figure out what I'm doing, how I'm going to get out of this job. Man, I'm making $20,000, $30,000. I got to get out of this job. That's a perfect person, right? That's literally what happened to me. That's literally what happened to me. I was at my job. I was like, I've been writing my whole life. And I was ready. I had clients. I had learned how to make $8,000 in a day from my clients and stuff that I was doing. But when I published my first book, A Woman's Side Hustle, and the process of that, and I leaped to the next level. I was able to double my income. Next thing I know, I'm making $120,000 a year just from that, utilizing that book and all the legs of the book. And I didn't even know all the legs yet.
I love that. Yeah. Because sometimes we know, as a coach, especially when you're first starting out, you probably know what you need to know, but you don't have the full story yet. And in the process, you're saying in the process of writing that book, you become a stronger coach and you now have a direction.
Yeah. So what happened for me is I got super clear on my message. Like before, I kind of knew why I was doing what I was doing. I loved to coach, but I got super clear on my message, and I knew who needed to hear it. Like, because sometimes we circle around those couple things for a while.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, and I can leverage this book with this. The best question I ever understood from book writing is, what do you want this book to do for you? The question we would initially ask ourselves in marketing is, what can this book do for my clients?
Yeah.
What can this do for the person who's going to buy this book? That would be the natural inclination. That's what I learned in marketing.
Yeah.
But no, what do you want this book to do for you? Do you want to become a #1 international speaker? Do you want it to make you famous on TV? Do you want it to build your empire and, multi-figure, 7-figure business? Do you want it to make, inspire kids? What do you want it to do for you? And then the legs start going.
Oh, wow. That's true. Because I wrote my first book. This was for my maternity concierge business for 3-4 years ago. I have this plane keep flying above.
That's okay.
I think they're training for the National Day Parade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rehearsing, so I keep having this like fighter.
Well, between your plane and my dog, who's like barking at whoever down the street.
I can't hear you. All right, just bear with us, audience, wherever you're tuning in from. So I wish I knew that, and it would be a lot clearer. Yes, we do want that book to be valuable, to bring values to our readers, but most important of all, what it does to your own business. How can it help you? And I find that I agree with you that in the process of writing a book, I become more clear about my message, about my story, and how is unique about my consultation or my consultation business compared to perhaps someone else's. So is that something that you help clients with as well?
Oh yeah, that's my most favorite thing. And if I have to say what my superpower is, that is my superpower. I can pick out about what people's message is when they can't, just from talking to them for a little while. But if I do a 1-hour consultation and I ask the right questions and I dig into their story, and if they allow me to peek into some of the hard parts of their story, which is where a lot of times the message is coming from, then I can together, I can help guide them to figure out what their message is themselves, right? By the end of the conversation or shortly thereafter, they'll know why and what they're here to say. Because even when I was talking to you just last conversation, I could hear your message. I could hear it. Like a couple things you said, and I'm like, oh, I see why she's doing what she's doing and why she's so passionate about what she's doing. Yeah. And it's important to know, because even though you're doing certain things, a lot of times you still won't know it So then you'll dance around and you can't get to the next level until you nail it.
Yep, yep. And it's the power of storytelling and owning your story.
And
And
owning
a
it.
lot of people are a bit afraid to perhaps reveal themselves.
Right.
Like, hey, this is business. I just want to present myself as the most polished, professional self. I don't need to show you my inner world.
Right.
And
Right.
that's,
But it's not true.
yeah,
Because you got to get people where they are, and they're not going to get on your train unless they trust you. And the only way they trust you is if you relate, if they feel like you're relatable. If you're too polished, they might think you're, oh, she's really nice, but there'd be some kind of barrier from them to really, really trust you, and you want them to trust you.
yeah. Especially in this day and age of digital marketing where we
That's
can't touch and feel another person, we can't hug or anything. It's just really through the power of your message.
that's right.
Okay, so this leads to talking about this series of books that you're coming up with, Boss Up, Women Who Boss Up, Mom Who Boss Up. So tell me all about it.
Oh my goodness. It's like I'm so passionate about this because it's like it's culminating everything. And
Mm,
it was an interesting kind of path to get there. But boss up, the term boss up, to make it simply, means to believe in yourself. That's really what boss up means.
mm,
Everyone has a boss up in certain situations in their life. And we've done it over and over again. You've lost your job, you've lost your husband lost his job, you had to make a new decision, right? You're about to have a kid, you still needed to figure out the income, you bossed up and started your own business. There's a lot of times you were in an abusive relationship, you bossed up and left. There's a lot of things, right? And so I've always had this thing with Women with Vision, which is my women's group, empowerment group, is I always thought of that as a well. Back in the day, women would come to the well and they would fill up the well, but they would also share story. And that's how we help each other. Women help each other by sharing story and telling other women about what they've been through and helping to encourage and empower them and each other. We don't have that so much anymore because we are in our own little houses, our own little fortress, and we just kind of, protect our own, and we don't get a chance to have that kind of sharing a story. And, there's been a purposeful almost campaign to make women feel as though we're supposed to go at each other. We're supposed to not help each other, right? And that's just not even the way women are naturally put together.
yeah.
They're not naturally that way. They're very much about win-win and help and benefit. So that's what Women with Vision is. So the who boss up is just an extension. Well, first of all, it's the podcast started first. So my podcast is nothing but, I call them super women, just stories. I invite these super women on and I get a chance to interview them about their life and their journey. And then as a woman is driving to work and she's like, oh my God, I want to do just like Michelle Hahn one day. I want to leave this job and I want to own my own business, blah, 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 right? And you get that sense of, I can do that if Michelle can do that. So Women who boss up is the next step to that, right? It's just taking all those stories and putting them together in such a way that you can somehow relate to that. And you can find solace in that, or you can find energy from that, or you can be empowered from that, no matter what the situation is. And I've talked to some of these women have had some stories, let me tell you, and you're
Yeah.
like, dang, she got to have that. And you feel like, if she can do it, I can do it. So that's really the bottom line with Women Who Boss Up. And the whole thing is a boss up in so many levels. For the women who decide to be a part of this, they had to boss up in some way, and they have to boss up in different times. So it's just a whole round circle of empowerment, and making women know that they're worth everything. They can create anything they want in their life. They can design it any way they want, and they deserve to.
I love that. And so you started with Women Who Boss Up, and the right or the authors, the co-authors from there came from your the group, is it? The women group that you.
Yeah. So, I have a lot of women in the group, and I started reaching out to some of the ones. And I mean, when I first started working on this book, legit, the pandemic, we had just got the order to stay home. That's what, and everybody was just like, oh God, because initially it was not a book. Initially it was an event. I had 4 events scheduled. We did one in January already. So, so I did a pivot. Soon as we had the coronavirus, everybody got homebound. I said, "Oh, okay, pivot," and then it became the book instead.
So I just write down your story. We'll compile it together.
Well, no, it was like, okay, it includes a lot. So it's like a podcast interview with me, and we put that together from their podcast. We produce their podcast, but then I have 30 to 50 podcasters that are also in collaboration with us. And our book tour starts, and all of the co-authors are now going around telling their story on all these different podcasts. So that's the second part. Third part is we have a press release going out about their business. So there's a micro marketing that's happening. That's on the ground with all the podcasters, right? There's a macro marketing happening with the press release going out to the wire so they can get on ABC, NBC, CBS, and listen. And then the last thing is a group conversation. We have a show called Women Who Boss Up. So it'll be 4 of us ladies on this show talking about different topics. And it could be, stress and anxiety. It could be starting over after divorce. There's different topics. And we have just the authors from that book, 4 of us that are talking about what they did. And we might have an expert on to weigh in, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I have a few of your co-authors scheduled to come on my podcast as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you're a part of this. It's so perfect. I was telling you because one of the books, it started off as called Single Moms Who Boss Up. But then I started realizing it's actually better to just have moms, because whether you're married or not, there's some circumstances you have to navigate when you have children.
Yeah, totally. That's very different from a single woman who are bossing out. They can hustle long hours. We can't.
You can't.
Yeah. And the why of why we're starting business is totally different. It's mostly for our kids once you're become.
That's right.
And I like that you share that with us. It's not just about just writing a book and just publish it into the world. There's like so many layers to your book marketing. The podcast round that you're doing, sending press release, going on the wire, and putting on this show. And how much planning does that take?
Well, it would be overwhelming because I have a whole team, 6 of us, and we're all doing our different things. But I'm so passionate about it. It doesn't feel like it's a lot.
Yeah,
right?
It has. It has been going pretty quickly, actually. You mentioned from the lockdown, you pivot to a book, and it's like you are already on my podcast right now, and it will be launched in August by the time this goes out. That's right. Really quick.
Yeah, but I've published so many books now. I've published a lot. I've published 4 of my own, and I've published another dozen of other authors. So I kind of already had the people in place. All my layout and editing and transcript, all those people are in place. So it's just like boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. So please share it with us. And hopefully, I will definitely put it on the show link of where they can find the books, first of all. And about the show that you mentioned, can other people join?
Yes, the show will be on YouTube. It'll be playing on my channel on YouTube. So we will definitely make that available for everyone to watch. And the show, I'm so excited about the show because this is something completely new. I have never done this before. I've done live, obviously I've done podcasts, I've done live podcasts, I've done video, but I've never had to do like a red table talk style conversation. right?
It's
Where we
live
have several
stream.
people.
The live stream?
Yes. It won't be, no, it'll be recorded. It'll be
Oh, okay.
pre-recorded. Yeah, because I think that'll be way too much pressure.
I'm sure you'll do fine.
So, but I think we do pre-recorded and we'll be able to just kind of talk about whatever the subject, theme is. It won't be a long one. But a lot of us have so much to say about, the different things that we go through. I would say that women are like spaghetti, right? Men are like bento box, right? You can have, they're all separated compartments where they can put their work here and they can put their family here. They can separate things this way. But women, everything touches. Everything needs to touch, right? Your business has to touch with your mom, with your housework, and everything has to touch. Because if you don't feel good, the business is not going to do well. The relationship's going to be jacked up. I mean, everything's going to touch in some way. And that's just how we are able to multitask and do what we need to do. We can talk on the phone right here, deal with the kids over here. You know what I mean?
We can totally do that. Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Oh, I love that analogy. Bento box and spaghetti. So tell our audience, where can they find out more about you?
Well, you can find out more about me on my website, tamarluc.com. That's for TAMRLUC.com. Or you can go to bossupbestseller.com, and that's a new book that's coming out, and all the authors that are amazing authors and their stories. Why, I tell you a little more about why to do a book, and also our books that are coming out. You'll be able to see when they come out and purchase one if you'd like.
Yeah, and the books will be on everywhere. Books are being sold, Amazon, Scribbled.
Yes, that's right.
Awesome, great. We'll be sure to include everything in the show notes. And thank you so much for thank you so much for coming on.
I loved it, Michelle. I'm so glad that we got a chance to meet, and thank you for having me on your show.
Likewise, and I look forward to the book launch.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.